One, they might design the program completely wrong if they are not coached by a good coach, and that leads to point number two. I am Mortasan, and I'm a certified trainer, and I have 10 years of bodybuilding or fitness experience. So I'm here to share my tips and tricks only for you for free. So please share and subscribe to my channel so I can grow, so I can help you to help me to help you to help me. Okay? So let's just jump into the topic. Strength training versus hypertrophy training for muscle building. Basically, strength training is like you are trying to increase your strength, maximizing for the lower rep ranges between 3 to 8 rep ranges, and hypertrophy training is more like you're doing 8 to 15 repetition per set. So you have to understand one thing, that I'm not against strength training, but I'm just saying it's more beneficial to do hypertrophy training instead of strength training for muscle building. And the reason I'm saying that is because a lot of times there's a lot of things that people don't consider or don't have the knowledge when they're doing strength training programs. One, they might design the program completely wrong if they are not coached by a good coach, and that leads to point number two, to have a bad coach, because if your coach doesn't know how to do a proper protocol for you, you will actually get some injuries just by doing the wrong protocol. And number three is people neglect a lot of muscles because of they want to focus on, let's just say, the three major compound movements, as in deadlift, squat, and bench press. If we take, for example, bench press, what are they neglecting there that they should have improved more so they could support their bench press, their upper back and rear delt? Because of they neglect those two muscle groups or don't focus enough, their strength will actually not increase in bench press. Actually, they will increase the chances of getting injured much higher, because if your upper back and rear delt is not strong enough while you are taking the weight down, the negative weight, then it can not handle it, and then it might switch over to your shoulders, or your shoulder might rotate, or your elbows might rotate because your lower or upper back and rear delt is not strong enough to take the load, which will lead to a injury probably. And the second thing is, with that, they don't actually know how to warm up to do a max set, or they don't know how or when they should increase the weight. For example, you can't always increase the weight week by week just because you want to. Sometimes in strength training you have to consider other things. You might haven't slept well, your body might don't feel well, your strength is not optimal. Then you should actually hold back just a little bit, just to not get injured, because whenever you get injured, it might, or you might not get training done, which you have to take a pause, and after the pause you have to rebuild the momentum to get where you were, and then you will just kind of think of, I wish I just hold back for that while. But in hypertrophy training, it's not the same, because you are not going to the max. Like in strength training, you have, perhaps you are trying to do 1 rep max or 3 rep max, whatever, and then it's a lot more load. But in hypertrophy training, you're kind of aware of, I can't take that much load for 8 reps at least, so you automatically go down on weight, which will lead to that you can train injury free for a longer time. Yeah, of course, injuries can always come up, or happen to somebody, but you want to minimize the chances as much as you can, you know, as much as there is in your power, because if you minimize the chances of getting injured, then you can train harder, longer, for periods, and for that periods you can actually grow. But in strength training, because of you can get injured, you will have to take a break. So that's why it's not optimal, because you don't have the proper guidance, and maybe even you don't have the genetically to do the strength training programs. Like for example, me genetically, I'm not as strong as a lot of other these strongmans, or I see some of my friends when they train, they load the weights way more than me, but my endurance in training is much better and higher than all of them. So you know, you kind of also have to consider that in your consideration when you want to build muscle. But most of the times I would always say go for hypertrophy training, because that is the safest way to train. And you can always train harder in hypertrophy training. You can go low, slower reps and yada yada yada. You know, there's a lot of techniques that you can use to max out your hypertrophy training. But in strength training, you can't really miss one point, because if you miss it, you can actually get injured, because it's a lot of loads you are putting on your body, which you can get injured of. That is basically it. Why I'm not into supporting so much strength training for muscle building, but it's not because I'm against strength training, because some people are competing, which I think is great, phenomenal. Why not? It's not something I do or I ever consider, or I will ever consider, but there's nothing wrong with it. But I'm just saying, if you're going for strength training or muscle building, for muscle building is more optimal hypertrophy training. And if you do disagree with me, so please make a comment why, or you can write me privately, maybe in my Instagram. This is my Instagram. You can also follow that if you want to. But yeah, I would like to know, if I'm wrong, then why am I wrong? I want to listen to people, but this is my knowledge and all the kind of training I've been through, and see other people been coached, or I have coached other people. This is the best way, in my opinion. But that's it. That is all, YouTube. I hope you liked this video. If you did, so please make a thumbs up. And if you do a thumbs up, please subscribe to the channel. And if you do that, so please share this channel with somebody else who can also learn or support me. And that will be very appreciated by me. I hope I see you in my next episode. See you next time.